And then they mention committee chairman. I think last week on this platform when Chief Justice in the suit no drop here, the catcher was one of the most stupid suit among. I think that me kind and the break and tell you. So suit no file Akojina Supreme Court and ohe ruling na by any na it was unanimous decision. Clearly a chair was na suit na wa file no lack merit. Any substance be and I sat here and I discussed it deeply with you say Nyansa be nim, but she was just acting out of raw emotion. Emma me cite examples. I quite said Kramaya on the Nam station ya bona sum wa be hu bia na obo or podi wachi. That is exactly what the Chief Justice is doing. Because Enra so follow your friend says suit na all coso our court na clearly you could see say this is an emotionally striking woman. She doesn't want to go down. Going down, or she will drag everybody along. And for me, that is very embarrassing. The catcher said, I respected her so much. And I was expecting, say, case in you appear before the committee, you fight your way out if you think everything is okay. But for her to subject the whole thing to this kind of way, and now be a subject of public mortification, mockery on social media platform, I think it's very, very embarrassing. When you're going down, at least you go down in dignity. You don't go down in pieces, just like the way she's doing. Suit no file, Ukoma na or seek a number of reliefs. Court no say one of the reliefs in say, judges na omote asem no so a omudi. Ebinum be bias etiano. And bias na o raising nyina na say justice onamanya or kana semin. Judge ya abrante on friend Daniel Ofori. Oye petitioner no. Wadina sempen. Wadina sempen. Yeah. Ama branche na dibem. Enti eno alone is enough for the man to be biased because wadina sempen. Again, Daniel Ofori afraid the same judge and say onya witness emano in the ongoing process. If Ofro be say omaya witness in an ongoing case, and you compulsory say ni para power ba na say omba. Because the person is a judge on the panel. And again, the mere fact is all be frost be dear dancer mamma doesn't mean that you are part of the person. We are talking about a judge here. What taking an oath? All ye juma. And again, then I see other judge here Nasama Kocaine. Yeah. Or say first we know the choir now more about Nasem to go and the judge is not more na Asiedu Nketia until already know. Or no, because of already position what taking in the earlier case in the likelihood of bias, everything there. And I make just say these are outright nonsense. With me say or the experience anybody or no, you don't expect her to be making such infantile, childish, your friend saying kind of allegation. And I say in summer in baby I say we no. You ever draw back and we'll be talking about some of these things. And the Onua Supreme Court got an answer. So they just have to flash it. Your mom flash it through the dustbin. I could go baby. And uti some bakwana or sign cassette or court aquatie here now. Baby, I didn't call a security zone. A castle. Yeah. Now security zone no very intimidatory for her. This is a woman on a soldier for the police for the watch and on an intimidation. I was surprised said now police need us to drink. Police need a bit. No, sir Stella on Lusuni position until so officially no good. Police needed it. In your entire life as a judge. You walk around with security everywhere. You're from Sabra Castella. What say you are being intimidated because you are being searched. The process, is a processor. No information from the place. That is why the constitutional premise says it must be in camera. So you don't go to such a process with a mobile phone. You don't go there with a camera. And it's a corner your customer for our phones. Now it's a minister will crowd for so crown for phone. Oh yes. And I'm a catcher sad near my way and near my and you know so she's just trying to drag the process because the experience some of this infantile way are making you could see clearly say again she's arguing say hearing na air cost no yemfa to TV so no bia hwebi and Ghana for we are not interested TV be no mfa nkonkoto who will bear that particular cost. And again you see that particular provision no enye discretionary provision in the constitution where the president can just waive say oh mfa no. There is a reason why the framers thought it said that hearing must be in camera, because it is not about the interest and the human right of the Chief Justice, namely the integrity of the judiciary. Because in such hearing in camera, no, there are certain things that might come to bear and will have the potency to destroy the judiciary forever. Yeah, process where cause now kwatisa adibia koswa emma affected judges will you ever have confidence in the judiciary? So there are key sensitive issues and in the wisdom of the framers, they stated it. Express constitutional provision in the constitution say it must be heard in camera. The discretion of the suspended Chief Justice or an aggrieved, emotionally stricken Chief Justice cannot be a cause to overturn such a provision. Because there are processes if you want to amend it. And me be Chief Justice no nyansadeɛ so ye say unka uhu sadeɛ sa no quickly na we amend some of these provisions. But oti ho no free say asem nto da. And make catch us Ghana ha amanfo suya mra but na TV super gisa bi enkwase chinja nyansa bi anim. We need to look at our laws. Na yenka say there are essential portions of our law out living usefulness. Na number tena ka say as a president do kwanya. Just say yes we obi in the nyansa nyansa be na wo ba bia ye we na confess no kwame nkroma penso tu kwan ko China na ye tu no enti wo kono amfo bia ni wach antena wanam aba na ye tu ene hwa na ye tu President Mahama kwa America, he still functions as president. You don't need to swear in somebody be sitting here as president. So these are what people should be doing. Look at the weak point, because you see, constitutions are supposed to be a living document that reflect the daily aspirations and the wishes of the people. At any point in time, so a be outliving the usefulness. You want us will draw attention and it become a subject of national discussion, and then we amend some of these things. But some no question what is making this provision? What will be a and again. Enti maamena semna all can say yenti asemno in camera no enya just for fun enti na say yenti no camera. There is a reason why and the reasons no enya because of wow kwatena committee na nim, but the larger Ghanaian people no, but there are certain key issues so enti ebabo enti magana for who and enti na constitutional framework no can say the entire process no must be heard in camera. Enti obi oya smart no why a chief just for how many years in here. If you think that particular provision, nyansa nima, adentina one use with time as a chief justice to call for a review. These are questions media people should be asking the woman, because it's not as if it's free China and buy and right. You've been a chief justice in Ghana, and you are today, and I'm saying you are pointing holes in the judicial, in the legal systems of this country. So your time as a chief justice, what did you do? And again, she's also talking about say, a premier fasia na president established yam famra kwansunti yam kwashe. And court Onua je fence Onua je ni unanimous no bi because asem na all can yes because and na make catch say establish premier fasia and as a merit in the case it is not an adversarial processor. Yebe advance any negative findings we are against you. They are just establishing credence in the petition. Now I go to the next stage. That is adversarial and advocate. Adjudicatory process. I don't know yebe but at the early stage, constitution na ma ho kwan say president budget petition or former council of state. Council of state and you see mistake lawyers and judges here no kroma say asame maya obi free so nimnyansa. Yeah, constitution at the side what we could have done is there is no procedural arrangement that has been done so far. Okay. They regulated that particular thing. And it is a constitution is a president petition the council of state. We could have come up with a legislation and as an instrument regularizes that particular thing. That these are the process. The establishing the premier facia, the person must be heard, and there must be a ruling. And the ruling, must be communicated. So when there's a clear-cut process, not say yes, circumvented those process, and then you can say, okay, the eventual outcome, no, something is wrong because we circumvented the process that has been outlined. But as it stands now, there is no single way there has been any infringement, any constitutional infraction, any error, anything a contravening the established rules of engagement so far as the Constitution is concerned. So on what basis and I walk as a young quasi your friend saying ruling now about because for a ruling to be quasi, it means eventual process now lead to some error occasioned. I question law of contract. I can't just say yes, a fraud vitiates any contract. Whenever you agree, negotiate any contract on the premise of fraud, it doesn't matter maybe a web of the contract. No, Drew. Once fraud is identified, it vitiates the entire contract. It's the same thing. For you to say the eventual ruling now, Council of State, the President, and the by and young question, you must be able to point to say at any point in time something wrong has been done. But nothing. No one say emotional arguments and yet to gumsa keke. And again, I'll say. Last time I catch it process na here in a course no yenjai na ye meti ono na sem na ye di na sem no wi a
ya got to process no
Supreme Court for head anim catch it na say nsem na ode aba no sabi nyansa ni nyina so bi anim a meet the constitutional threshold because you see committee na adwuma na oye no it's a constitutional your friend say injuncted responsibility a constitutional function and a yeah. And for you to say a constitutionally accredited procedure EOCO should be stopped, no, you need to provide reasonable basis. I actually say, I know that they proceed, na say na some irreparable damage be caused to you. If you're unable to prove, say some irreparable damage be caused, say you stop that process now. You cannot stop because it's a constitutional process that has been activated. Nobody can stop it. I say your friend saying. Excavator ati free na eba na wakofa akra odi original class 1 say onko stop no does it make sense sanet here so person will stop na you need to have idea ebetimi agina am dey stop no so ya say yesikele enra unanimous no agibi yes udua your friend say adua body o say hwan you wa wutibidi and for me the oil from the beginning last week, we catch you say, you see, law isn't such complex thing among for who is. Sometimes if you are sensible, you are almost a lawyer. You understand? Because we told you, say, if you look through the relief now or corner, you could see said they were driven by sheer emotions, no sense in the petition and as if for see to that their corner. And today we've been proven right. That is why all the judges who sat on the case, unanimously trust everything that she said. Like I said, you see. And your life, so you cannot just bet everything on it. Say we lose everything. Maybe just like Benue Kyei, entitlement na kahona or Kofi and Sankan. Maybe that is what she's struggling. But you see, someone resign it. So the fact of the matter, and say Ghana for your free say your judiciary near dirty. Your judiciary near the Muyam. You were in bed with the other political party and you have confirmed that by going for Godfrey Dame as your lawyer. The gentleman is out there still doing that political campaign and now this is a guy or no manipulating witness or no ankasa. Sanka Ghana is a serious country and a criminal who should be standing trial. And Ghana Legal Council should be thinking about your friends say confiscating the certificate from him. Exactly. This guy today have the infantry to go and stand at the Supreme Court and say, or your lawyer for be the same person accuses away or son. So the procedure now one thing a message from it a common sense, logic and reasoning. Because a bizarre question why would the woman go for Godfrey Dame when all the rumors in town say you were in bed with these people? Common sense alone should be enough motivation and as incentive for you to say that option is a bad option and give you a very bad public image. So I think that now everything is settled. Maybe the process should continue. Committee members, they are lawyers, and on your money, so free say on buyer bias at it means in the past, or no more bias at man for that is why I say a family beers right. Oh, yeah, so I think that we need to focus. Now, know the day, Nen Sama or Wakano, Uncle Chairman committee, so would it be my why not? You come back. Would you are not coming back, you understand? And some of this emotionally stricken argument running around just to public sympathy in as for no. I'm telling you, sir, Ghana for will not fall for such sympathy. Because majority of Ghanaians and say a judiciary not say in recent times ruling and free over 7 for Ghanaians were very angry. So we want to sanitize that institution. And you are just a part of the bigger puzzle. We know who's important, but to some of us, we're just looking at the larger judiciary. And for me, this whole thing should even go beyond the Chief Justice, because there are several individuals within. They don't deserve to be there. Judiciary, so yeah, reset here. That reset must take into account all any other person who was brought on the the judicial way now undeserved to be there. People with non-partisan ties and so forth. We need to flush all of them out. So once again, confidence will be built. But my culture say, your democracy at TBB, so yeah, here Bejiagu, now no Yatiana Cote d'Ivoire president Aira. Yatiana president Aira. When people lose hope. And unfortunately for us, your Jubilee House maybe since we see it's in the middle of Accra. I'm for Jibum so Mumbai. You have no other option than so done. And we cannot get there. Yeah. We need to make sure say you better build it, trust in state institutions. My culture say if you go anywhere in the world, that's a who said democracy and that's a bansi wa. Idea about how ban back. People mistake it for say a police. No. Yeah, the confidence and the trust citizens are what by anymore. And yet the utmost security for that establishment, and we need to secure and ensure say about work it. And just and I'm when a chief justice here, they had their time. They couldn't do anything sensible to amend these provisions to ensure that there will be clarity. Your constitution, there are several portions of it outliving the usefulness. We need to make time and amend them. For instance, the Lama catch this citizenship allegiance kind of thing. Who say Jachikwe free way by Ukrumano? You didn't assembly and has but that thing is still hanging in our constitution. You understand? We are innocent yes. Exactly.
Because of political
yes. And that is why knee-jerk reaction as somebody serious as a country. And lawyers, I think that these are some of the things that we should be researching, bring to public attention. And you say, radio so no partner you can say nuna sa na ma na twam opasa manfo hu say we serious make cogent reasonable analysis na no say na me lawyer na can say hunu TV so
me da say ana dia me bra say obeba ntaba mamani ewu nti waba ntaba mamani ewu bra Listowel et say
ehu anu me hwefo
me da say me ya sure say
na onso
oh nyame adom eja ebi $1 here Asiedu ya fuel neto aye the sese okoto fuel 12.15 first no to 200 treba is auto 200 same 200 now only na be 7 ba na e dey na dey say erade utimi so air condition person no so do kra timi so you roll glass there we are bow you rade ya bre o
ya tempenten kwa pa
anya ize enti nyame adome ho ye pa me dem say one topic there wa ho no unanimous FC na course we Chief Justice ya bona nsem na de kwani nyina to agu
ba ya ma me fa konya isu na me nchia ahwefo ni etiefo me nchia menuanom emrantia o maji bresu momuman na me mo amu Moneha. Obaya na me mo abaso. Se na de bia me ye no. And say em say wa shada bonkofo pa. Ti enya bo be say
na we no send there Thursday no me start can pempe na mo messages e ba o. They say kura o say me yere me ho say 30 no kura say me push ya o say me push ba mani. Kwa say 30 no kura no. So time
no say ahomache be say ekobo no num ena minya first call pani kese pa ba kwa em say onfa dwumedie ni ago eno say na de opa me chewo the ma bre kra menum your friend is saying energy drink and I'm saying so my body ntimi receive energy drink say na me pe coffee be num na
ena be boa
ti dwumedie em say ekukudama etechire no edoso pa na me mo biachi nananuma trankunya ne nananuma hema nyina meche obi bia Ghana fo nyina madofo ne matamfo nyina meche obi na obaya
Listowel
my way governed by laws.
The law is the law.
The law is the law. Oh, let be a me can't sing bina. I think say nipa and said that and funny may be too on. Oh, say obrano or your chichini. Life is a teacher. And so as and when you move on in life, always remind yourself of your past. Then your present will tell your future. What I say? Obi anyone ma sebi ewiase we ono nko ne ho aso na kwantuo da. And untimi nya wo ho se wo ye kokota konko awieye. Eden akila be wula show. Now from day one Akufo-Addo nom beye aban hyaase se omu di nipa ani e wo Ghana ha no. Na omu pese omu ye fre bibi e wo brofo kasem legal torches. Ade bi wo ho a e wo mrem emra ma ho kwan se wo ye. Na sene osemkafo ne ka no o se ye wade nyina ho kwan na so nye ne nyina na eden e fata yen obi anim se president bia wo ye Ghana president no or prerogatives bi a ye de ma no se ni tumi mu no even though o manfo na de tumi na kura no no on fa ni dwuma bi na sa dwuma na o de tumi ni die no ade e wo so odwe ho kane ne se ye wade bi a natural rule of natural law of society. It's a normal rule. And then no be a me de bo me bra. Do unto others as you want others to do unto you. And no me na man kroma. Obeka se susukuru a wo de besusuo no. Eno an ye de besusuo ama wo. Eno nti se wo ye papa yiwuyem. Oh, yeah, bonnie so a jiwuyem.
Na ya bonnie.
Yes, because bonnie na wo ye no. E hu sunsan so beba dabi. Enti oh yeah ye ni yie. Na obi ehu se wudi ewu ye wudi
bonnie.
Sa no obi di bi ye wa. No no so ayi ni ye ma ye den.
E dey do.
Because bonnie emfi wiase na wiase aba na wiye. Sa so na papa so emfi wiase. Akufo-Addo nya tumi hyase to ne neoma bibi bia wo ye bia no edru ba bi utimi se wato oman no amamumra no ato atwene eno afa Onua ne kwati kwan so no wo hyehye ne neoma wo hyehye neoma na ni pe tu ne fo wo pani Akufo-Addo ebe ya enkade menye ni sei fa kwan we so na kwan we sabi ebe tene wo wani so na so awieye ne ye owuo oh me fiwu afi kura de na champion nyum na sorry awobo so usu kura no na me ye ne mo oko paw ani yeboa Ghana fo bi sorry yes o nya hwe ani yeboa no se bi o NPP ni kura na the law is the law na fi me ani yeboa bae sabre no na obia onimani yeboa bia nim se papa yi the way a oye two partisan no enioma bi nkoye
nsisi so
eniramu ama kandapa a ono aye ne national security minister e de betu dwa se da bi the way a mo ye mo nioma yi mo hweye na enyina bo agya be hia to mo da bi san se ewiase asansa wo faade a wo de kire o e ya dansidi ntia Ghana fo ka the way amoye oman judiciary mo se no a landmark case because to omanim a for mo ho faga na ni bia ho. It was about how we are able to define citizenship.
Okay.
Sabreno na electoral commission person registration or say ma kwan ma obi amfa the birth certificate and your registration. And yes, asem na electoral commission can nyansa nim. So say documents na omo keka ho sem nyina no say you fa registration no. And your birth certificate na wo sa documents no. Enti untimi nka say obi papa nya ne papa biem ana obi maame nya ne maame biem. Na mmom no at best no say you bibi yempo a birth certificate no yanhwe obi ne papa ne maame baby a omu free na yanhwe nationality na e birth certificate ne so no ebetimi a kire se obi ye Ghana ni ana obi nye Ghana ni e san se minim konfo bi a omu ye Lebanese in color but they are Ghanaians by birth. Tala fata anom omu nananom betra Ghana ha omu wo Ghana ha. Before the birth of the 1992 constitution, no more. Ghana for. Before the birth of the constitution, you were Johanum India for Bebre, Oko industrial area, Obehum Bebre. Ghana for. As whom is skin color, Bruni pa. So nye Brunia Bruni pete.
Of course.
Bruni pete. What you say? Na so enkofoi sinkete say Ekufuado na asoma wom. Enye o my Ghana na asoma wom. Enti di Ekufuado beka se yenye no, yenye. Ekufuado in law school EOCO ye, lawyer o ye, wanko law school. Odidi obi achi kura ne bag. And then Pakoni say, oh, they say the only bag ni crap to a lawyer. And obviously, cost you in 20 certificate. Said the EOCO law school, open certificate. And it's allowed. On a lawyer, I cannot say on a lawyer. Just that I can only say on this certificate. Now, Obia only law certificate. Now, oh, my meno papa. In the case of Tokunu, oh, papa, Wunti. Bonia okodi wo school wo Kofoedua Sectec ema yeyi na die eja Abraham wakọ de krechi e papa waka baby and all because of wo Tokonu se wo benya baby papa abegina into papa school fees aboka ahwe school afi adwene da wutirimu no obi a ono ne papa ye president a onko school mpo so wonko wakọ di nkofo achi adi abaya lawyer ni onu ne tuufo ama watu nyansa ne unim de nyina ato atwene asase frani yebo a ani yebo atimi ka che Ghana fo ye nyina ye se o birth certificate kra no enche se wo ye Ghana ni ne ya jatum edru baabi asema bagana yakoto aba nipa ono na ehwe abato ne so no yesin kuntabuo nti ana dansidie nti ne kusonkonso ayere ye hwe ahwe enti se wakusonkonso na onfa ni nsem moja mra ne ehwi ahwe sa aboa no nyantonton no de be dan ye sebi sonkonso a ani ye bo ase da so no be ma jemen san ba betna da kemami atoto na no de any over his legal dead body wampre meanwhile any ye bo no so no me no ka say no ye answerable to the Ghanaian. So, in one breath, nipa bi nye answerable to the people of this country because on human rights. Na sabi na oni Charles Mensan na mu enkomo na Ghana for petia na. Ghana ni bia say yani omo nya adwen omo se da bi. Afa yete wo na menu akwase free fa dia babatum. Hey. Ani yebo a wakwa akwaje adamudie $5 million. Papa yentimi ameyi ne ho ano e na odi call retirement matisi ya power so won ko e FIFA de omo hwe ye na sika anyira e ya futuo ma omo because sa papa no bribe de Obejia kuwum. Ni nua na bribe prayer ni surname. Eni ye boa bribery. Ebe ni surname. Bribe de efri kofodua. Obi animu no. Na omo say judiciary no. Na ye ka obi asu ntie duru ba bi me wo de me kokota me mada. Me fiu. Opa famiko de Hague me ma. Because enya law na ye kan wo ho. And there was nothing justice about Akufo-Addo's period, no. Nothing justiciable. Nothing. Bibi anyone mo a obetimi aka say oh we dey omadi emra ye adwuma. By their whims and caprices, they were just giving what they just best could claim say because say was a wig and say judge into a judge. I didn't see anything justice about them. And untina Akufo-Addo call for our power no na me from chief injustice. Because I never saw justice around them. Now I said men aba. Say a rule of law idea. I also be making sure say ya dem ran eden adwuma. Mami tokunu onso nchemra. Onso nchemra. Not even President Mahama. In all humility. And obetimi kura de nsese bu aka se ono onso nchemra. Onu kura pa. Emra mu no kura mpo no. Ye wo bibia ye friend Vito a obetimi avito. Enu kura mpo no. Uni say asaji ni tumi no kura sa de akọ parliament say so person ye executive instrument mpo kura na just e komra se bedwam. E ma me ni wo ye nsi anamu together with John Mahama na nkasa mu no ye mampani no. Onu ni nsi anamu a wo bra se bedwam. E de ne sa sha ase ansa no wetimi de executive instrument kura ye adwuma. Enti who is she? That's the question me busa. Na NPP phobi a o ma dwene mu aboto. No ma be gina bonten say obi busa say who is she a? Na ase wo pese o kire say onye obi a na mpacho oye hwan. Obi anya obi a. Oh. So usua democracy ni yi a. Oh. Omo a womo propounded the theories of democracy akese no Plato nom ne Aristotle ne Socrates nom ne sankofo no nyina no omo make sure say your Friday be equality before the law ebe ye adwuma so that enye say we chief justice nti no be hu ho say wo so cha emra na eyade a omo ye say ebe manipa tumi a wadwe ya wo say ekura wo no uni tumi bia na mom no ye frɛ bibi rule of law not rule of man. Enti de na Akufo-Addo ni omo ti ho no omo adwen ye omo say mo amo ne mo na mukura mra no na omo aka brofo kese bi and the law is in the bosom of the judge. Ekwasi akasa eti wo say judge ne ti ho na ono ni tirimia ne de na adwen nyina soele say you say the law is in my bosom. Etino me no dia me penam de beye. That recourse to at least no we say abaye de botechi no etimi de boba emani yeye.
Okay.
Eti me come na besi so say emre eye superior to any judge in this world. Emre time yankopon where o say o de mre ena ye den eye na ade. It was who say mere crampo no say oh yeah technical a mere so change yankopon time yeah watch enya watch you time
emre
watch a cut time so change yankopon
okay yeah na
time and a betimi ama nipa ehu ne gina bia ekina
okay
enra me hwe photo bi ana circulate to social media me kura me post to bi na me hwe say mami tokonu ay say de oti ho ya de ne say sum na no na ono anan kakane no ote adwamu a ono na ebe determine obi fate and na ono kwa me determine ni fate no e hwa na me tro sa akosi apofo je nwum say emre edane emre esesa netisenka emre betimi asan na chi ama anura beye na ekatokonu ke paw ne se wonkoye CJ no na ko behu nyansa se me de mra beye adwuma meye de me manfo pe na duru bre bia enye se nipa me na ye ka na sichi me na ye ka nana a yen ya toto oman ne mra twene ya ye si mra tira si moja nufa ni tirim go fredame wei 2x4 no ena wono sesei no akodu se ma memfa ne nkoye adwuma
okay
ye nyina ye fantu ye hofo
okay
ene me de betu judge fo nyina afo wunti obi nya ebone wakwaje adamude obi da afiase wo nchirima judge akwaje pona o se mu odepa nti ade tie no wabe judgment am obi da sewem obi akwaje koto obi akwaje aponche na pempem kan aponche opemma wakwaje wa obi akoda nsawem obi akwaje sika adamude am obi da nsawem obi akwaje nioma bone amename no kase adamude ni ye friend say kitahye ne proyenti no nipa bebre da afiase
okay
obi so ban bone nti ene ye birth certificate yentimi nkase no ebetima che so obi ye Ghana ni anase nye Ghana ni sade we mu ma na nyense na ho
okay
say when the judge judges the judge time will be the mightiest judge
okay
eti efi na ekuroi ye fantu ye hofo tokonu na kane no ototo ne ho about the law is the law no afei o person ka say the law is no more the law na yenka morality koye law of morality and I say constitution for morality near fair no ni aten emu aten organ ha
mateme da
me de manu besi na me de atunefu say baby adi na kwa koduru no so obi kura nkyere ni nyansa onu ensue nyansa na on resign
okay
on resign na de ebeyo no beyo there is no way said this wounded lioness obi member ne kwan say won san konkot na ho no mra me chief justice organa ha there is no way
okay
it is all say
that's it
woman 88 na oyo nkwanabo no obi antimi nka na asem obi antimi nya na hwe na obekoso a onkoso na nimgu ase no abampo awie
okay
crew ama
all right how say yanko Chairman Wontumi matters arising. Yes, and Ras, I will show you EOCO, there's in bank for so day, Krata command, so quite Jessica say, or the Kodia brew. Yes,
and yes, I am a fan on police station. Japan discussions are why the way of conducting a Honda for then you ask yourself, say, such a mind, you know. Why was such a mind even get close to your friend saying higher office? Wow. The sessions are shaping the future of a country like Ghana. Our young people, I say. Yeah, to Obama nyansa for amamo ko make a decision. Say ya on betime a position your future. Such a mind, you know, involved in such a discussion. On my non coswa, you shouldn't be surprised because these are some of the things. And these people are so greedy to the extent say once or more access to power, no, they have this desire to satisfy all desires be or more. The desires are insatiable that will do everything to. For instance, what is a sika or how kwaji? Yenko dua bro nya ade a wo ye onim ho maache onim ho hwe but because our power to assess money kwaji be a make asa bi nua e felt but onim obi a wa pan mu
yeah
enti sa sika nsa nka so because of privileged position no anya no where he is not even onim ho hwe kura no he will be assessing those money and then or the obeye and that explain why Africa consistently ne Ghana bra ye brei se nipa nya tumi anadwe ne se otesoro na so bi mada and say no sika ne say listen to everybody ade ba kwa matena se ahunu say arrogance ade at the very moment a black man benya tumi pe ade ba kwa or the differentiating no from others arrogance. They become so disrespectful. Ebia Listowel and a job bear one crime to be friend in common. Suddenly, over 10 missed calls. 10 missed calls. on few campus were fraud back. That is the sort of your friends and one weak minds in your power. That is how they project that power for you to know, say, Nadia, Madru baby. But if you're smart, you know, say, power is just a passing phase. Whatever it takes, you know, you exit the phase, another person will come. Culture say, oh, occupy officer. You should know, say, you are just a temporary occupant. Officer, no bit to answer na over. You exit, another person will come. The difference is time. The only difference is time. So, to me, nama na or kwaba na or to turn around. And I listened to some of the interview threatening John Mahama as if he never thought.
Yeah.
As a fool, when you have access to political power, he thought to say, oh, Onua, but politics, you know, the dynamics are very complex. Then as a form, but you see, there be a catch for the Nipa. Very often you see them on TV shouting, and I may a bold me, omuya coward tell you be. For example, Kennedy Japan. Awkward tonight TV so kwaka say yenku an for the ben say President Mills penso Kocaine
mekai pa
ya che no de no strategy all of a sudden o say na koma ya na ya mama na so hospital so nan obi oti TV so na no cha ya che no de no call we NI we be NI for custody ade oso yare o mama na so ade che ye no on the hospital the same playbook no and I want to be ampa.
Yeah, friend man, she has all yare.
The same so and I'm say these are cowards. It's a playbook, it's a tactics of my employee.
Yeah.
And the obia na no de na okasa gidi no. But has other pafia bi so na why one what is say akra bi other be say we no sort TV so can say hunu ni na say for us we are to me. And the political and I say we nim nyansa na we nya power ahu we di bedi wo you make enemies for yourself.
Yeah.
Obake kan sema any say yaka by the time I be hunu na kachi. And you see when they do these things the common people no more honor they don't respect them all. Asamba and I'm say young people are becoming very wise so MPP for sorrow call Wontumi or no. Majority of the people leading are the top executive patriot no ho. Your friends say could be a control to social media say patriot go to Adenta Kumi's house. Now oko comment na say back one me say me will feed but bia me ko bia me ka obi say odwan when you were eating the your friends saying royal ladies did you remember us? General Secretary obi say odwan when you were chopping the your friends saying royal ladies did you remember us? And what kind comment na was here na when you beje a child say young people are increasingly becoming very intelligent. We need to me now they talk about our girlfriend or the society busian for corner for now but TV so defend that would never be done anywhere. Young people are becoming very intelligent. Our emotional attachment are not more politics in any because Kroma nipa to me o mu on fa wo nya hwe o friend okra on fa enti enya wasade ese wo na akoko defend when the person doesn't even respect you, he doesn't even know you. Say ye nyina ye tesa na ma we ase a those in power will begin to act wisely. Now who say when I mess up the people down there will not go on TV or go sit and defend me. And elsewhere it is what it is. And never manipa to me or the yes or the make positive impact on people. When you do that, obi okro to me there are some tuna the people will come to your aid.
Sure.
Last time I catch Oko South Korea there was a time amko jisika na aban intimintia. Do you know what the people did? The people of South Korea airline up on the street of Seoul. When where me 10,000 we know the aba omusika na ye won. Enti a man for where obi ho gold obi ho silver almost sound like the command ban say aban jeje sa omoja pade na on obi wa the gold chain jena ton na fokutuaka. You can Google us there because the people felt that aban na ye de so ye nyina or ya the papa neema na nkoye enti willingly the people line up on the streets of so they contributed money gave it to the government to go and pay the debt.
National donation.
Yes. That is what people do. But that can only happen when you treat the people with respect, dignity, and you know, say, they are way and you are championing their cause. Now, Obana will champion the cause of your girlfriend or nam for foreign as a forum. Nipa romoto abama who na umuno fane nyashe who theater the nice one. Do you think they'll come to your aid?
No.
And you should be calling the royal ladies to come to your house, not the MPP full soldier. No. Before Akufo-Addo know you hear ni, and then others you hear ni. They are even super hear ni.
Yeah.
You understand? In as much as they do this politics, and benefit you be and say young people to me getting that emotions out of them. No, who's a politics, and you don't need to have any emotional attachment, but you need to have intelligent attachment. Make sure that you put people in position. Benefiting the power. They will begin to think twice. They will not take you for granted. Sure. You understand? And it's the reason why some of these characters, these jokers, who are not supposed to come anywhere close to power, and when you're to me, and they are just dancing on the political stage, and then to me, we are now focusing on John Mahama per se Oche Wontumi. Now you say Wontumi on the money has no political value. And he said John Mahama per se or breaking MPP fronta. He will not go for Wontumi because no political strategists would design any strategy and say go for Wontumi. Oh no, there are the people who are taking vote away from the party. So those people you need them more like. If I said Napoleon as a forum, nobody will arrest such people. Just allow them to operate to their destructive best. You allow them. You understand? So I think that Nema na Abrante na Ghana is a serious country. Akufo-Addo is a court to me.
Yeah.
Because of the air cost, because there were reports, evidence. Nema be there. This Abrante way or stay forest, and then nobody is talking about the destructive nature of the business in forest reserve. Yes, Western Regional. Nema Mokwaye no hono enya de ketwa be ni nasefo. Ni nyina these are things we should talk about. Now, Omani yentimi anye and some of these people yentimi njeli or more very often a show or koba na ye jai sa akaka. Me say people will lose trust in government because the EOCO amount for reason is just a show a koba. I think that they need to make sure that this gentleman is sent to court. Nasa oboko, nasa odipima onko fie. Nasa odifo say indeed was say Omanya Japadia. He should be answerable. You tell us Sabaya Ebese was a corona a woman, and yet here from Kwan jail. Namum politically exposed individuals who are so-called powerful can also have a taste of jail. What I say Sabaya Ebese as a lesson to even people in government today. Because when you're 2 minutes, you for no for down for adien people among for Beshasia baby your friends companies. A be in the name of others. I think the government need to focus on some of these things. Now say Abanya Hukra na what the Kojia, you should not say in the future also because power is not about satisfying your greed, it is about empowering people. That is what should be the focus.
What would deliver?
Oh, Dabi. Nasa Gina ya man no, ya the man is a party in the man. Oko Masloga, that has always been the no playbook. People go for the loans, the cars and as for they don't pay. Go in the party in the man. You understand? We need to change this concept. Now make sure, sir. Or mine, Nipa be or Omuhiam waka krabi. But why they're connecting to wine? Or my team, you need to know somebody answer. Now, no, make us obi person call military, obi person call police. These are the most dangerous job. For instance, Oko bank, I won't say police in the bank in the new credit and the phones. I'm robber bar. When I first target to be cool. But all call Ramuno, yes, you won't bribe. Why else were in America when you are enlisting into the army? The very moment Abakasa be enlisting, you'll be given $1,000 as a bonus for enlisting. Because a dangerous adventure now take Ghana have police among forces soldier form call and as a forum. But internally, there are other staff of which means you anytime. You need a soldier for who mining site and as a forum. So these are things that you don't need to take anything away from the person. But then your just system universities on himself or 5 nipa 100. Or best sell forms over 2,000 amount for add your 1,000. Or we are now shortlisted 800 for interview. What you 500. Or we are now 200. Now the state air bokro Onua. As some maker they know.
Exactly.
They know that is why law school who say the your friends say law school bill be back. I be regulated. Because that is what some of them are doing. Shortlisted huge people taking they will rob them at the end of the day, you know. Now, the fact that form, why not complain? These are some of the things that you need to be money part to change some of these things because the whole essence of power. And they say down there, people no, and your focus is not about those in power. It is about the ordinary man working. You know, how does the person feel the impact? Instead, there be a $100 and some say dollar. And yes, a tear from the who here in the power. Say, ma me akosia ko shops okoto ade a obe feeling pasa ampa dollar swati. And how do we crack down on sabaya neema bo be form? This should be the focus. Yet me yes neema we here amanfo will begin to have trust once again in this. So Wontumi there Onua abrabo boy na catch up with him. And I think say somebody certain example and not just Wontumi. There are several other people you see in as from Watson report to know and some other individuals. Obia why yes I we need to punish them. Why yes I first why ya Makacho say Obia by the ope ukroma saying. And yes I man for you see answer na Mahama baba power no. Campaign time no bet ya I want say NDC MPP
yeah.
What I say?
Sure.
So this is the time to change the narrative. Say no, and yet the same thing. With the Bonia, we will punish you just to make you know, sir.
Therefore, issues about corruption related stuff. One of the key issues are Ghana for Gina Sokotoaba. Because we got to a time and that corruption was so rampant to the point say we are Ghana ni now share kwanya. Nipa kobi afaso ebo man no krono na no mobo no kwani nyese mobo ni nyansam na dodo na mobo krono tena tim so ma bimu san ye ha be sa de ya ne se obi a onim nyansa na owia wo ya chenya de bia but Ghanaians had to deal with this ordeal for almost 8 good years. These people were stealing with unwavering impunity. Decisions and some of the things are there cause not air time. They did this thing, no respect among the people of this country. I remember on the side of Galamsey, Wontumi kind of stuff, many concerns were raised.
Yeah.
Advocacy group, individuals. At a point here, not yet, on the street.
And in fact, I think, is it Utah goes other.
Yes, university where echo strike because of this.
Yeah.
And the very people who were behind this thing, we knew them. Wontumi and Co was all over the place. All minor forest reserve. And then as a forum, President Ebon Chikutupa. We got to a point when civil society organizations and Ghanaians raised concern about saying because there were clear-cut evidence such as Brantiano say forest. A man for China, there was a clash in a newspaper and Obia reported. The president came to his defense, a Catholic bishop for Kushia Ewoko for Libya. And then he took the podium and told the whole world, say, Wontumi enya by yebum, and I anti-government activist, na can't sembu Wontumi, so Abra nya when the guy was indeed in this virgin forest, or say Nema, and Nina and the president assigned a mara man who said people can go into virgin forest now you those kind of distraction and as for them. I've gone through the reporter police for their Bible and said I'm inviting because of the activities I say and so on say what pollute and a whole lot of stuff I call. So you see Makata said Crofo thought that we are to say I don't know buy people were the security agencies were pouncing on them no. Then they decided to go that emotional line, calling on patriots. And as for say, people should rush to their houses, now omomra to their rescue. Bihubakubi yase efra brante bi adanta kumia.
Yeah.
Justin Kodua. I got trot on the Facebook page.
Yeah, sure.
One of the comments mekai pa and say obisi ogain. When you were enjoying chopping the ladies, did you remember us? You can go and read the commenter. What sa post now try na see. Clearly, you see, we've gotten to a point that the average and the ordinary Ghanaian in the past, a month of say they were so gullible, emotionally struck. That era is long gone. So, we should know that there is no sensible person obedi what she said, or no, me do a because they don't respect anybody. That is the hallmark. The very moment I hand the power to Nipa Dasenino, they become so arrogant and they think that they are so special to the stance. And the common sense, adherence to. Yeah. So these people will mess up for 8 good years, 4 good years. When Hunyansa am for a patriot, that's a brand fee, my onye party kura mau, and I say onye bibi mau by a ne. yet no will be negated to us a patrons will come because of free say you are a gullible netwit. I wouldn't answer. And these are near my the wire. And I'm cautioning the youth to say, you see, these are people who are robbing your future. These are people who are mortgaging the future, who seek it to be a future leader, no? And they are investing this money in their kids, buying your friends a good future for their family. They don't care about you. That is why you be kidney disease. I see a shut it down. These are your friend is saying chronic diseases. When somebody gets exposed to some of these, it doesn't matter how much you have in your account, you can never stay alive. So there is the need for us to make deliberate intervention. People were chopping state money here, there. Even people who are in the party, they never reach out to anybody. So the youth, Obi are now poor under MPP regime, party na opposition, they are still poor. People don't even respect you. And today, these people have the gut and the infantry to tell you, say, police for national security for that nonsense is over. And it's also a caution to people in this present government. You see, don't you sit anywhere and think that you mess up and time will come, you call people and they'll follow you. No. You see, people are becoming increasingly intelligent, smart. They are becoming very multi-politics, I say. You understand? First, and now partisan emotions drive people. The honorable you are shouting, putting your life on the line. He doesn't even know your name. He doesn't even respect you. So someone who put value on yourself. Now who say politics now? The relationship that might exist between power and we the people should be intellectual kinship and that kind of mutual respect. Because you're ready to me amount say at this point in time, do this thing right for us. Your interest. And I said, but when they come, they look people. That is why I'm for shots. And they service these people to the detriment of the masses now. Or then a car to hot party car. So now Brante be a master. Campaign of free cars. You see, these are the actual realities that people go through. So you see, this time, so when you say what your mind car, don't think that you can come into the social space, write something on social media, and young people will come into your aid. That era is done. Make sure you use it to do the right thing. And Wontumi as a person, you see, his case is long overdue because this is a gentleman. TV super you go. What's the case natural? Yes, long overdue. Because Sam Asankana was serious government at the time and can all put to gold on your friends a TV station and as a photo. And I think that's a question. But the government of the day was part of everything that was happening because the catcher said, Petty here, Sikano, these were avenues they were using to get the gold to channel the money into party coffers and individual coffers. And it's the reason why nobody could touch him. You see, Abasa Brantier there be a mekan witch hunting, the way a witch and ever hunter. But when him say when you're the bonia, I'm not sure anybody will go after him. So if he has any solid case, you go appear before the security agencies, whatever investigation be under by another day you go to court, stand trial. So would be you will be exonerated. But I yes sana sa near mana. What send Okroma Yakanyans Assembia Chana went what Jane say you can activate an emotional crusade and call on gullible party followers who troop to your defense because we are high Chairman Wontumi. I listened to one of his interviews on radio, shouting, screaming, and John Mahama Bano Pese MPP for Muntina. Now if John Mahama Pese breaking MPP, now you're penny party now Wontumi.
You'll be vying for national chairman.
Oh, now so I'm not catch say. You see, politics is here. We've monetized the entire political stage. Until any fool can just walk into the stage. Onyesika na dwene say obetimi akwanenim. And my catcher say in the coming days you see a lot of fools wanting to be president because now they have money. Because in this time now you know intellectualism, credence, value, those kind of nipa vision and so forth. Those things it is about the highest bidder. So politics now by a high stakes business. At the end of the day, wow, in the coming days, you see the media starting rooting for individuals. And why are you rooting for this person? Because your party envelope will be the man and motor no more. So your politics say intellectuals who are supposed to take the center stage, make critical decisions about the future of this country. Some individuals are being sidelined because you don't have money. And some of these idiots have been liberated, taking the political stage. And at the end of the day, it is at their dictate and at the behest of whatever that the discretion that they have, you know. And on my nebu. And the last 8 years, so JB. Makacho say John Mahama Toka Magana Nibia. Or the $1 million to be account to say dollar about 1 cedi. Now he does not punish these criminals. Ghanaians will never forgive him. Yeah. Because the very reason Ghana voted for him and yet dollar can hold on as for. But the key thing has to do with Nippon or Mofanyansa, Quines will be Sikano. And I said, the money and say Nippon will be Sikano Nimyansa. Or Yansa in a real Sika Cradia. Sometimes you fold and let it slide. But we will Nimyansa and we will Sikano send dinner when him who can. These are the reason why I Ghana for Kotuaba. So it is a sacred responsibility on the president. He can never shake it because the very moment he waived that particular option to prosecute these people, no, he will be in the bad books of Ghanaians. And you can understand. I'm telling you, Akufo-Addo, when he was coming, he was the darling boy of Ghanaians. Akufo-Addo could come and mad. Your friend is saying, and to myself, and I know I'm so. But 8 years, no, because of a brabo bonny or a boy. You understand? Yeah, that is how power is. A very tricky. And the dynamics in here very complex. So we know who said the Wusuna. Who are the lover of the people? No, you can easily turn and become their enemy. So I think that President Mahama should make sure say these criminals will never go scot free. Again, about that, your friend is saying train we know.
Sky train.
Professor Metihay. We will be a win. Yes, more dama na damn the yes. It's a scenario so more dama. Come here to train and nam from ye nibi. Na kwabrane atena se the pen people oh my sign Matthias ya quiet train and wiem. Even to conceive that idea no can tell you how weak minds are yet put you more in leadership position. Train the nam from no ye ni baako na de num bi na ekofa de ba e ba 3 days ye say akwanya accident. What who say nam da? What think e ba de di akire e chen ye first abonsa me ba kurom. De gidigidi nipa kra tra me nyeye. Na saa nneema we couldn't see the sense ebe ya the nam from no kra ye na kwabrane atena se ye nye sky to the benam wiem. And at the end of the day, Mauritius no more time sika course so mo sky train no Mauritius na ko how many sky train no mo feasibility study kro mo anya bi wo kroma ye ne ba ye ho se na kwabrane atime release over $2 million choppable dollar na what transfer to account e dey quite share e were different companies some your friends different way somewhere sika no utrese enye at the same time na Ghana for were suffering and crowd call school now help aduana nkra dia hu awere o se befem it got to a point obi a wanya kidney disease or kokolebo say neema ya say ye eni ho and these people died. There was nothing that their death was non-negotiable. They died because the state no say onisika kolebu for say they could not manage that place because state ni nisika. Now you have $2 million in the quarter account somewhere else, baby. Yeah. Now, sa nneema we nyina cost na Ghana for want accountability. Somebody sits somewhere and says, "A political witch hunting, a damn the whole team." I think that is the sacred responsibility. Because I am of the conviction. So you see, a state cannot be weak. A state cannot begin to show people mercy. The very moment you do these two things, you are done. Because I can't tell how dangerous human beings are. Time has come for us to send a message. Because you see, there were a lot of people who were convinced, NDC and MPP United the same. Now who we are, I scratch your back, you scratch my back. This is the opportunity for the John Mahama government to change that narrative. Say the NDC and the MPP are not the same. Yeah. And for that matter, he's ready this time round to make that difference, that striking difference that will change everything. Makata said the impunity with which the MPP people thrive was because of Professor Melso Penson and doesn't apply in governance. You understand? Say you need to make sure that they suffer for it. And it's a one nam. That's our mind seeker free to format. But we live in a country where said that $10 million. Somebody could be a bro. I know that it's not about whether it would be a bro and so be a bro. The dividend after because your mind seeker. Yeah. You understand? Maslock has always been the same thing. People go to Maslock, take the money. Every year, man for check cars, my girlfriend or my for them because he didn't say a party. At the end of the day, nobody will be held accountable. This is the time for us to strengthen state institutions. Man for being hope once again. in democracy now air falling because in the sub-region now Metiana Meti says Cote d'Ivoire president Ayera. What president to me that is how the environment has become say. So what's your conjunction within the people rise against you and so when the people rise nothing can stop you and nothing can stop them. So we need to do everything to ensure that we shape the perception, the understanding, and the confidence and trust individuals our democracy. Because Makata says Ghana democracy, this is the last leg of Ghana democracy. So the Mahama government we end me and build the confidence. I'm Ghana for a deal with democracy. We are done. And when we trip off, we are never coming back because of how our democracy over the years, I give you some kind of safe haven for individuals here. A messy up this country. Everybody was quiet in this country. I was happy when Catholic Bishop Council Nano Nyakukodoko President Kocaine said undeclared state of emergency in Nasi-for-them. But in the last 8 years, all the nonsense that was going on up and down when we were on the space, Professor Frimpong watching the report by Obiantibe Nyakukodwa President Niman Kano Crunch. But now we are here. So I think these are things that a man force should not connect any political dot. And you be na obedi ne bone, obi na bebo na kohwibra, obi na betam man sika da kodi nsemu ukọ no hwan ka asebia nkwansem kwa na obeka kire because kroma no nipa nya tumi a ade ba kwa be signature ba ka kire say arrogance nipa onim nyansa da wanya tumi na dwe ne say otesoro power na mada ba we nyansani a ka kire say Rollins be 21 years and no hwehwe na wunhu no and that thing should be a stark reminder to everybody say to me it doesn't matter where you sit and that office ben obi be occupy bi da je bi ka kire me office ben office ben obi occupy bi da and you will not be the last person to be there, so just serve people, be respectful. Now who say nipa na wo serve no matter so you move away and then another person will come anya hwe just give yourself 5 years, you may not be there, you understand. So to me no wunya serve human right, respect nipa na who say you've been called to service but not to come and lord over people. Like there be assembly tour when you nipa mana can be amount. Now kwasa wo dem no yere no makodi mu nsem hunu wie na wotisa wabusuafo ne sisa sika pake no wo dem na assemba. Then you call the poor masses na ono sabi de obedi kura onya no say onu mfiri ne fie na omra na ome support because then eya anya daje na Justin Kodua ne post no ye no kwase na Kocaine post no na we say Kocaine away be ho and I bet you say Ghana for young people are now becoming very intelligent and they will not cut for such nonsense over the years. Emotional politics in that kind of way no ebe wura man from so NPP for so no the baby no, that era is long gone and in the end this is the same thing. We need power now when treat people here, you should know say the day will come you become lonely.
All right. So I know Ivan Innocent Che and yet Kano earlier yet Lucius Nka but I make out say between a journey on Facebook and afi also the wajunche the abani di nkomo. Now let's call the second leg of our discussion nafi and the second one has to do with the issue between CJ case number 22/4 CJ versus the Obaino. But now, the editor say NPP MP say they are not going to Parliament if John Mahama unrestricted CJR. But CJ also had a petition question the integrity of the judiciary as it stands now. Say they have exposed her to mockery and other sort of things and not yet too comfortable. Until what the petitioner called say they should look and probe into the matter very, very well. Lucius, I don't know, say what follows our issue here. Then, yes, I issue parliament issue where na NCJ the area na type of money account the other ones so well.
Issue no ho. Me crowd the enkamen person make ho asem bebre. The ntia enkamen person make ho asem bebre say ya aka na asem na when the last me catch you say President Mama are suspended no. Wow, uchi kurom ha all I want to ask you no epono eni akiri epono eni akiri kotwa jatum national
87 or 88
we say any politics
time the person may go rogue there be who say Chief Justice a court no that is the day I make say ma me no nye serious and she has never been serious. JB, a process has been activated. The process now was slotted into the constitution by the framers of the constitution because they envisaged the possibility of somebody becoming even a president and as a chief justice. At some point in time, the person may go rogue.
May go what?
Rogue. Like, what free Maraquan so yeah, the open.
What yes, off road.
What yes, in
yeah.
So the constitutional framers thought it wise to insert clauses about the removal of such person no are possible within the confines of the constitution. I just will be the two neighbor you were free. And that process, you know, now no make catch us a president to be any who work to remove any chief justice. Constitution in Mahon Quinsa. But the president need to me to remove chief justice and it only becomes activated when the president is petitioned.
Yeah.
So when the president is petitioned, his powers to remove chief justice becomes activated by making sure that the said petition is referred to Council of State.
Council of State, yeah.
And the Council of State will work on the petition to establish whether there is a merit, credence in the said petition. After establishing that merit, then they will counsel the president on the next line of action to take. And in the Constitution, it is quite clear, explicit, written, say, the Council of State, it may establish, say, indeed there is a merit. The next line of action is that we need to set up a committee. That committee, no Jumane say, Omobasha say, President, from the beginning of this hub and Constitution, such say, you set up a committee now. There is a discretionary constitutional power that has been given to the president alone. And this is written in ink in the Constitution.
Yeah.
It is a discretionary power that has been given to the president. Say who's a merit to a case, subsequently, the president to me either to allow the woman to stay or allow the woman to stay behind. That is a discretionary power that has been given to the president. And nobody may take away that power from the president. So this is the process thus far. So as at this point, Obiam Chief Justice said what your friend saying what for an answer anyway.
Sure.
Petition has been flowing among for Hong Kong because we live in a liberal society where people can express their opinion, whatever. Diverse opinion does not incriminate the Chief Justice. That's already we are told say Chief Justice say or the president and I'm say constitution wouldn't mean see president, in his stead, you sue the Attorney General.
Yeah.
The processes now you go through normal from memra and some of the processes they say one, Council of State. Yes, sir. Premier Fasia and as a credence no more to establish a petition or merit, and it should be declared null and void. So my question is for that process to be declared null and void, it means the process now you taking that decision, there was some infringement to be allocation somewhere along the line. My free say and I'm say yeah from Samara because you say you can't build nothing out of it, nothing.
Yeah.
You can't build something out of nothing.
Yeah.
But there must be an infringement. There must be a constitutional infraction that has been occasioned somewhere along the process. And it is on that basis that you call for your friends say young question the eventual decision that has been taken. But no such error has been your friends say occasion. And again, the Chief Justice, we are the administrative head of the judiciary, today have the guts to tell Ghana of what say. The young judges panel also have the tendency to be biased against her. You see, as an administrative head of the judiciary, when you make such pronouncement, it questions your integrity as a head of that particular institution.
And then she's been exposed to mockery and
exactly. You become an article of public mortification and public ridicule because this is the very judiciary you are fighting. Say, chin chairs here, my Chief Justice. But today you are telling us, the people there now are biased. Now, because my head there is no way these people can. The question is, on what basis? Because for you to say JB, and this is a man radio, a friend say TV way so. Now me baha, your friend say me pesa me ne be way no. I I need to premise that particular thing on Adia Baku and Namibia JBI and Untimi free say. Ubaya bias against me.
Yeah.
You can't just build something out of nothing. And this is a CJ, an administrative head. She's not just a judge. And Adia also. So it confirms the long-held notion Ghana for what say. Your judiciary, you're dirty, and you're filthy. Decisions are free, but Sabinian said him, and until Ghana for took to social media, and they were questioning some of them. Ruling coming from the Supreme Court. Yanti Kroman and the Supreme Court naman for 2 nidi. Unanimous FC.
Yeah.
People could predict ruling in as a forum. Ruling bar, people can just subject to basic element of reasoning, logic, common sense, and you see, say logic in him, common sense in him, reasoning is missing in the ruling that is coming from the Supreme Court, the apex court of the land. For instance, you say birth certificate and your primary document about Ghana, but traveling document, passport no mom dear Nasabi Bibin Kocaine Bibia. Will you say that? Because me working at the hospital, what I know is say you give birth to Obia. It's not because you are Ghana into we are Ghana.
Yeah.
Parents in Nippon way the bachelor, baby are free. Now that thing will be written. So if you are looking for any primary document, it just say indeed the person is a Ghanaian. It cannot be passport. Passport is a traveling document. So you don't need passport. Oh, you go to America, there are a lot of people, they don't even have passport. Ghana has a
passport.
So Supreme Court cannot say we need passport. So these were some of the decisions come here. People felt that these decisions were silly decisions. And to confirm it, go to social media and look at the kind of anger out for Ghana for a poll. All the polls that were done in this country, people were saying you need trust our judiciary. It means that over the years, the judiciary is sinking. And I'm telling you, the judiciary is one of the foundational institutions of our democracy.
Right.
We cannot lose it. And this is the point. And again, JB, one of her reliefs, say, or a chief justice or the Asamaba.
Yeah.
Process na ya set up committee na ye di no. You make sure say you stop the process no. Na court no any ono na 7 nwie because no hu hia ye di wi a the outcome no be determine the ebe koso. Ya bi ye wo krom ha say. Ana okuja to ne Haruna Idrisu and some others. At the electoral commission call ya the e-levy call to say parliament should halt your friend is the process.
Yeah.
Ma meno bu na ni gu so ma Parliament a process in the by the time I'm quite an now you pass the case became a useless case.
Yeah, sure, that's true.
Abra Electoral Commission registration, political parties, NDC and 6 other political parties drag the Electoral Commission say registration in district offices other places here. Traveling from your village to district way and so people cannot do that. Yes, I'm to find the data in the bottom. By the time Oba, now EC was done with the process, and there has been several instances of this guy. And what you could do Ghana for him say, on any case in India, Yendi, na ye the ongoing process, na ye di we are. I say Otumfo chare aso flower. Ya work obu baby omubu. So Jebi Makacha said, "Unya to me baby I will be no." Making sure say you use it wisely and you should put a expiry date on whichever position that you occupy today and know say you will not be there forever and you should serve the sensibility of the people of this country. Sabe ya man for benya trust and confidence. You see, maybe my contention is not about the judiciary, about the chief justice. The chief justice is just a minor part of the entire judicial puzzle. You understand?
Yeah.
It is about the sanctity of the judiciary. So any individual is irrelevant. It's inconsequential so far as the larger agenda
is concerned.
To streamline and sanitize the judiciary is concerned. You understand? So this kind of embarrassment that she's putting up, lining with the NPP, for instance, this is a